Mother-in-law had cancer and desperately needed money to save her life. But what her family wants is not to sell the house where the second old man is retired. Nor does she want to sell my husband's premarital house. But to let me sell my premarital house to save mother-in-law. Me. Good math. This life-saving money who likes to pay who pay. I do not pay anyway. Don't miss out on this story by subscribing to Heartfelt Stories. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, share, subscribe, turn on the little bell. And the exciting story begins now. Mother-in-law is hospitalized with lung cancer. It just so happened that my husband Jason wanted me to go to the hospital to take care of him for a while because he had to go on a business trip. He said, "Honey, it's just for a week. I'll be back in a week." I silently pulled out my cell phone and found the recording of those harsh words mother-in-law had put to me in the first place. "I just don't want to show you the child." So what? There is no law that says mother-in-law must help her daughter-in-law bring up the grandchildren. You don't have to talk about my future retirement. I have a son and a husband. In the future I will be sick and paralyzed in bed. I don't need to take care of you. I don't need you to come and take a look at Jason. He was silent for a moment. And stole the concept. "Honey. Now it's not my mom who needs to settle for you. It's me who needs to settle for you. When I beg you. Okay?" I was adamant. No. But even though I didn't promise Jason that I would go to the hospital to take care of mother-in-law, Jason went on a business trip the next day. He called me after arriving at the destination of his business trip and instructed me. "Honey. For my mom. You can just send a meal to her every day. It won't take much of your time. If you really can't spare the time, you can order takeout for my dad and mom. Is it really as simple as just delivering a meal?" I let out a cold "Oh. If you can't spare the time, you can order takeout yourself." Jason got a little angry. "Sophia. I'm asking you because I'm on a business trip. Not because I'm trying to put the blame on you." I remained cold. "I also told you. I can't spare the time. There's nothing else. I'm hanging up. I'm busy." Jason. I thought my rejection was obvious enough. But I never expected that at noon. I received a call from mother-in-law Linda. She opened her mouth with accountability. "Sophia. I asked you to deliver a meal. Are you going to wait until your dad and I are starving to death before you can deliver it?" Me. Don't wait. No delivery. I don't want to eat shit. What she told me in the first place. I have to carry out. What she did to me in the past. I have to return the favor. Speaking of which, Linda and I used to get along. When Jason and I were first married, we met on a blind date. At the time, he was 26 and I was 25. In the not-so-big city of Riverside. Both were pushed by their families to arrange blind dates. Then, we got together. He is a salesman. Very good at talking. I think he can get by. I am an elementary school teacher. Looks very gentle. He also think I can get by. So, the third month of acquaintance. The two of us to determine the relationship. We were in love for more than a year. We basically never quarreled. Plus Linda was very good at talking at that time. And the dowry in Riverside was not high. We got married without any hiccups. Jason and I are only children. The wedding house is Jason's family out of the down payment. I myself have a house before marriage. No one took advantage of anyone. The month after we got married, Linda started to push for a baby. Of course. At that time, her words were very nice. She said, "Daughter, while your father and I are still young and can still help you with the baby, you should hurry up and have the baby first. Otherwise, when your father and I get older, you too will have your hands full. This person, after 50 years, is getting old. Maybe one day we will get sick and can't help you anymore." She also promised. Don't worry. After the baby is born, you two can go to work on your own. And leave the baby to your father and me. Your father and I will take care of the baby. I used to work as a nurse in a hospital. And your father is not too busy at work. Jason and I didn't intend to be sincere. And we agreed before we got married that we would have the baby while both of our elders were still able to help. Furthermore, my own mother, though not yet retired, also pushed for the same thing. So, I don't resent Linda's urging to have a baby. I even went shopping and chatted with her from time to time on weekends. But such harmonious days officially ended 2 months before I gave birth. After I got pregnant, I didn't have any strong pregnancy reflexes. And I was able to live on my own even if Jason traveled on business occasionally. Furthermore, Jason and his wedding house is relatively close to my mother's home. After pregnancy, what I want to eat, I go directly to my mom. Basically, I didn't bother Linda much. She occasionally brought some fruits to our place and cared for me. When I was about 7 months pregnant, she came over to take care of me because my belly was too big and I had trouble moving around. Conflicts between the two of us also started to appear. At that time, because I was overweight, the doctor advised me not to eat too much. And it would not be a good time to give birth. But she was chattering in front of me all day long, telling me to eat more. She said that if I didn't eat more and eat better, there would be no nutrition. And the baby would be born skinny and not well fed. And she not only chatter, but also as if there is some kind of serious illness, forcing me to eat. At first, I ignored her chatter. I just put down my chopsticks when I didn't want to eat. Once, I put my chopsticks down, and she insisted on bringing me another bowl of rice so that I could continue to eat. I emphasized to her that I couldn't eat any more, and the doctor said I should eat less. As a result, she gave me a direct line. Which hospital is this quack doctor talking like that? Isn't this harming people? Funny she is. I was just about to retort when Jason spoke first. Jason said, "Mom, are you a professional or is the doctor a professional? You questioned the doctor." Linda justified. "Of course I'm the more professional. I've given birth to you before." Which of the young doctors in that hospital now have given birth to a child? Which one has experience? Listening to Mom is definitely right. I'm doing this for your own good. Jason told her to talk less. Eat more. Really too idle. And do more hygiene in the house. Linda shut up. But only when Jason was there. As soon as Jason left for work, she couldn't stop talking to me at length about the benefits of having a bigger child at birth. She also gave me an example of her next-door relative's son, who was almost 10 pounds when he was born. And now, at only 15 years old, he's already 5'5". Let me not do it for the sake of size and cause the child to not be able to grow taller when the time comes. I gave her a blank look. So that's why Jason isn't 55? Linda. If she had just told me that alone, I wouldn't have been angry with her. At most I would have thought she was a bit out of her mind with her concern for her grandchildren. But not long after that, Jason and I went to his uncle's house together when we visited relatives for the Chinese New Year. His uncle's daughter was also recently married and pregnant. When we were chatting, Linda said to her brother, "Ching Ching is now 4 months pregnant. So let Ching Ching eat less. Because she'll be too fat in the late stage and it's not good for her to give birth." When I gave birth to Jason, he only weighed 6 pounds and 8 tails. And it took me 1 day to give birth. Yes. Ching Ching is her niece. Me. Double standard. It doesn't matter how big my belly is or how hard it is to give birth. The baby will be fine. But at her niece's place, it's the adults who are more important. I'm a person. Sometimes I'm really not too generous. I immediately said loudly, "Mom, Didn't you say, the bigger the better when the child is born? You still want me to eat more. I can't eat any more. You have to stuff me with a bowl of rice. I can't eat any more. So you have to force me to eat a bowl of rice. You said that if the baby is too thin at birth, it won't grow tall in the future. Linda. Linda wanted to stab me, but finally snapped. Isn't it because I took care of you that I learned about it from the doctor? I was afraid that she could get away with it. So I continued. Mom. Don't do Ching Ching any harm. When I told you that the doctor told me to eat less, you scolded the doctor for being a quack and told me to listen to you. Not the doctor. Said the doctor hadn't given birth to a child. Linda. Linda never yelled at me to eat more after I screwed her once. But when she caught me making her lose face, she kept complaining to Jason, saying that I was too careful, and that I was too concerned about the smallest things, and that I made a scene in front of her relatives, which made her lose face. I was about to give birth at the time. Jason did not put these words in front of me. I know that she said these things to Jason after my son was born. After my son Max was born. Linda, who had mouthed off that I just needed to be in charge of the birth, stopped talking. I was a C-section and was hospitalized for 7 days. The cost was all paid by Jason and myself, while she was beside herself with money. When my parents went out for a meal, she popped out at me. It's better to give birth by yourself. C-section is so expensive and the recovery is slow. I didn't have the strength to argue with her and disliked her breathlessly. It wasn't you who told me to eat more. It was you who ate too much and got too fat. So now I can't give birth to a baby on my own. I didn't even let you pay for it. And you're still complaining about it. Linda saw my face change and shut up. I thought that was as far as she could go. As it turned out, I was wrong. It was when she got back from the hospital that she started her real act. On the first day home, she left the baby with Jason and I to go home on her own, citing that she hadn't slept well in the hospital. Jason was a little dumbfounded. After all, when I was still in the hospital, my mom asked if she wanted to take time off work to come over and take care of me postpartum care together. And it was Linda who patted her chest and assured me that she didn't need to. That she and Jason would be enough. Let my mom don't ask for leave. Besides, Jason is the only one who really didn't sleep well in the hospital. Every time I have something in the middle of the night, Linda is thundering on the cot next to me. Snoring. Shouting cannot wake up the kind. So Jason stopped her from leaving and asked, Mom, what are we going to do if you go back now? Linda. Max is basically sleeping right now. There's nothing to do. Jason asked, what about Sophia's postpartum meals? You know I don't know how to do that. Linda reluctantly stayed. But even though she stayed, she didn't do anything. She didn't even look at the baby when she cried. When she cooked for lunch, she called Jason away 5 times while he was watching the baby. In the evening, when she gave the baby a bath, it was even funnier. She said she couldn't squat down because of her back pain and couldn't give Max a bath. But instead of calling Jason, she called me. The reason was, Phong is a big man. How can he do such a delicate job as bathing the baby? What if he bumps Max? A woman should be able to do this kind of work. I replied to her with an expressionless face. If you can't do it well, then learn it. The doctor told me not to touch the water. Linda wanted to roll her eyes at me. But when she saw Jason carrying the baby over, she finally relented. Throughout the day, the most pleasant time she treated me was when my mom came to see me after work. The next day, a couple of her relatives came to see Max. Yesterday, Linda, who didn't even bother to look at the baby when he cried, who couldn't squat down because of her back pain, and who asked me to give him a bath while I was in postpartum care, picked up the baby from the cot and was able to pour tea and water to the relatives with the baby in her arms. She smiled and showed off to her relatives, saying, Max was born weighing 7 pounds. The biggest baby dissected out of the hospital that day. But as soon as the relatives left, she immediately handed the baby back to me and lay down on the bed to swipe her cell phone. The relatives came in batches for 3 days. And she pretended to be diligent for 3 days. On the 4th day, she fled. And my coworker came over. When she wanted to show off with Max in her arms again, I asked Jason to stop her for fear that Max would be infected. She did not show off, but first aggrieved. And when my colleagues left, she was in the living room on the sofa, swiping her cell phone and young me. Help you do things. I do not see you dislike me. I flew on the dislike. And even the child is not for me to hold. Jason is probably angry by her behavior in the past few days. Then I first lost my temper. Disliked her. You are an adult. Flu can be cured by taking some medication. In case Max is infected. Max is so small. The immunity is not as good as yours. You will have to go to the hospital. When the time comes. You don't carry it again. Linda. Linda looked at Jason with disbelief. Froze for a moment. And then tears flowed out in a swish. Jason silenced himself after seeing her cry. And stuttered. Mom. What are you doing? Did I say something wrong? Linda became even more agitated. I did my best to help you guys and I made a mistake. You guys are now a family. And you're all working together to ostracize me. Jason interjected. Mom. I'm sorry. Jason interjected. Mom. Who has ostracized you? Linda interrupted him before he could finish his sentence. Isn't it true? You used to listen to me for everything. But after you got married, you listened to Sophia for everything. And Sophia is still targeting me. And last time she made me lose face in front of my relatives for a small matter. When I talked to you, you didn't say a word in my favor. And even said it was my problem. I did it for your own good. And now that I'm doing something for you, Sophia's picking on me again. I was speechless. In the end, Linda went back on the grounds that she was flu. And that she would be disliked by us anyway. My mom could only take temporary leave to take care of me. Linda left this time. Until I was out of the month. People did not appear again. It was my mom who asked Jason what his mom's attitude was when she was almost finished taking care of my postpartum care. If you can't bring your grandchildren with you, just let me know in advance so that I can hurry up and look for nanny. So that I won't be tossed around so hastily and temporarily. Linda came over after listening to Jason's message and learning that my mom asked us to find nanny. After she came over, she put on a different face in front of my mom. And explained with a smile. In-laws. It's hard for you. It's really because I'm flu. And I don't want to infect Max or Sophia. So I had to ask you to come over and take care of me for a while. As the saying goes. You can't beat a man with a hand out. My mom doesn't. My mom specializes in smilers. My mom. What flu need to rest for a month to get well? If you don't want to take it, just say it directly. Don't be a Pandora Charms outlet. She paused. Let's spread out. I still have a year to retire. My sister has retired. If you really do not want to take care of their own grandchildren, I can ask my sister to come over to take care of. If you really don't want to take care of your own grandchildren, I can ask my sister to come over and take care of them. But after my daughter and your son pay off their mortgages and Max's expenses, they won't be able to afford it. We both have a share in the grandchildren. So we'll pay half of the money for nanny's treats for each of us. Linda quit. In-laws. You don't have to invite nanny. I was really just flu at the time. And now that I'm flu, I'm sure I can take care of Max and Sophia. Linda refused. In-laws. There's no need to hire a nanny. However, when my mom left the house, Linda thought I was sending my mom out, and turned to Jason. Your mother-in-law is really good at calculating, letting her sister work as a nanny, and at such a high salary. She might as well just ask our family to pay her 1,500. She paused. I'm not going to hire a nanny now. She paused. I now bring you the child. Is not doing the nanny thing. Why did not she say her family to give me 15,000? Cannot be a bit of face? Originally sent my mom out, but only to the door. Was afraid of me out of the cold, my mom. To drive back to me. Listening to her these words, a face confused. At that time, Jason was still towards me. I was still confused. He directly disliked back. He said, Mom, do you want to hear what you're saying? When I wasn't married yet, you gave me a pie in the sky, saying that as long as I got married and had a child, you would definitely help bring up the child. I just got married and you're pushing for a baby every day. He paused. You pushed me to get married. And you pushed me to have a grandson. As a result, after the birth of the grandchildren, daughter-in-law postpartum care, you prick. My mother-in-law did not say anything to take care of. Now you are even picking the thorns of your mother-in-law. What do you want? Linda was silent for a while. I just said something off the cuff and it didn't work. Jason. You're just saying something off the cuff. What do people think when they hear it? Linda couldn't help it. So she started to use her status as a mother to pressure people. I won't say anything in the future. What are you doing to me? I am your mother. Not a cat or dog on the side of the road. I raised you all these years. And now I'm here to help you bring up your child. I owe you but also raised a grudge. Jason. I don't mean this. Linda. Then what do you mean? I'm your mom. Am I no better than an outsider treating you well? I did all this for you. Jason. Jason, shut up. After that, Linda really didn't say anything else. Of course. Her not talking anymore was the same as her urging me to eat more in the second trimester. Simply shutting up in front of Jason and continuing to rant at me. And being even more aggressive than before. The behavior was also very double standard. Jason was not home for lunch. And she made whatever dishes I didn't like. Or just took the leftovers from yesterday to perfume me. In the evening, Jason came back. Big fish and meat. But also must wait for Jason to come back to cook. Once, Jason worked overtime at the company. Called to say that he would not come back to eat dinner. She has cut the vegetables directly to the original way back to the refrigerator. These I do not care. Young people have takeout. Live on weekends. My mom is off. I took Max back to my mom's place. She has the nerve to complain to Jason that I don't know how to live. Every day at noon she cooks. I don't want to eat. I have to eat takeout. The takeaway is so expensive and not clean. What's more, Jason is at home. She hugged Max. Left a mouth of baby. Right a mouth of good grandson. Max as long as a cry. She can run out of the soles of the feet sparks. Jason is not at home. Max cried, his face purple. She also continued to feel at ease lying on the sofa to brush the phone. But also specifically brush the kind of foreign mother-in-law do not need to help their daughter-in-law with grandchildren of the video. The volume is turned up to the maximum. Play to me to listen to the kind of everyday to play. Jason also thinks that his mom is quite good. And said to me, when you had your postpartum care, my mom was probably not feeling well. So she didn't take care of your postpartum care. Now that she is well, she is not taking good care of her. Yes. When you are at home, she takes good care of you. Originally, I considered that I only had a month or so of maternity leave. And when I went to work, I would still need her to take care of Max for us. so I didn't want to bother with Linda. However, a few days later, after Jason went on a business trip, she left me and Max to go downstairs to play mahjong. And she didn't come back until the evening. When I called her, she replied, "The kids are sleeping all day at home. What can they be doing? Don't call me all the time. It affects my luck." Besides, I just don't want to play mahjong. Besides, I just don't want to watch the child for you. So what? There is no law that says mother-in-law must help her daughter-in-law bring up her grandchildren. Me. With her attitude, I couldn't rest assured if she really left Max with her. So, after she came back from playing mahjong, I directly disliked her. "Mom, if you don't want to take Max, just tell your son. I won't even say that you're not here to help me bring up my child. You're here to help your son bring up someone. According to the current state of your son is home. You take Max for a while. Your son is not home. You don't care how Max cries. And you haven't lightened my burden at all. So don't come around day after day making faces at me and implying me. Making it seem like I'm forcing you to come over and take care of the kids. You know, we might as well hire nanny. But of course, if you don't want to pay for nanny, you can tell your son. Don't have the life of the old Buddha, but still have the disease of the old Buddha. Think that the daughter-in-law has to be the same as in ancient times. Every day to give you peace. According to your wishes to coax you happy. Early in the morning will die. I'm not sure if I'll be able to take it with me. But if I can't, I'll go straight back to my old man. And I won't settle for anything less. Right? Linda. Linda was shrugged off by my words and went back. I thought that after I made it so clear, Linda would not come back. But I was wrong. She only went back for 2 days. Because on the day she went back, I invited my great-aunt to come over to take care of Max. When she found out, she came back again. When she saw my great-aunt taking care of Max, she argued with my great-aunt, pointing her nose at me and cursing. You want to earn your own family's money, but you don't want to be ashamed of yourself. How much you haven't seen money before. She used to be so rude to me. But I didn't take it personally because of Jason's face and the fact that she is at least Max's own grandmother and will definitely be able to take good care of Max in the future. But when she pointed to her nose and scolded the sister-in-law I invited over, it was clear that she had a bad heart and couldn't see me well. I also pointed my nose at her and said, "Who is shameless? You don't help bring up your grandchildren. But I hired someone to help bring up my children. And you have the nerve to come to my house and make trouble. If you want to lose face, go back to your own home. Don't be a pain in my ass." Linda was scolded by me and sat down on her butt on the sofa and started to cry. When did I say I wouldn't bring the child? It's you who didn't want me to bring the child. My own grandchildren. You don't want me to bring them. Or is it my fault? Me. Luckily, the day she left, I pressed the phone to record the conversation. Otherwise, I would have been really pissed off by her. After I finished playing her words, I pointed at the door and yelled at her. Witch! Get out! Well, cut off all contact from now on. She didn't go out. She stood up and yelled at me. If you want to get out, it's you who should get out. This house is bought by our family. Okay. I'll get out. I immediately packed up my things and took Max back to my mom's house. The next day, Jason came back early. He came to my mom's house to take me home. But I didn't go back. I asked him to stay with me in my own house. But he didn't go either, saying that it would be like living in son-in-law for him. Me. After 7 days of stalemate, he invited a few elders from his family to come over and ask me to come back. It was also after a few elders of his family came to my mother's house that I realized why Linda was targeting me so much. His elders first apologized for Linda, saying that Linda was just talking in the heat of the moment and didn't mean any harm. She apologized for Linda, saying that Linda was just angry and did not mean any harm. She explained that she was also thinking of us, seeing that Jason and I don't have much money in the first place, and that she had to hire nanny to take Max. So she felt sorry for both of us. After that, she told me a bunch of things about Linda's past. Linda used to be married to Zhang's dad. Very not popular with the in-laws. When her mother-in-law is not willing to help her with the child, Jason is her single-handedly brought up. Her mother-in-law was so over the top that she made a table of food at home and shouted at everyone but her. Finally summarize. Let me for Jason's sake. Also for Max's sake. For the sake of Linda before single-handedly brought up Jason. Don't with her an old man general understanding. She also poor. Me. I understand. Linda's behavior towards me now translates to, I've been in the rain. So I'm going to tear up other people's umbrellas too. She also told me not to be so mean to her. I'm going to have to get on her bad side to the end. I asked. So? Because her mother-in-law treated her badly in the past. She is going to return all the anger she suffered from her mother-in-law to me? As the old saying goes, there is a head for every grievance and a debtor for every debt. She has had a grudge against her mother-in-law all these years. Shouldn't she be looking for her mother-in-law to avenge her grudges and avenge her hatred? As a result, she came to me to take out her anger. Where did she get this kind of reasoning? The relative continued to argue. Hey, it's not like that. Your mother-in-law is just talking too much. But she's still a good person. She told us that she would treat you as her own daughter. And that she would not let you suffer the same kind of anger that she has suffered in the past. Besides, you and Jason have given birth to a child. So it's been a stalemate. And you're still living in your mother's house. So what do people think about it? Me. But her behavior is to make me suffer all the anger she has suffered in the past. My relatives couldn't take it anymore and morally abducted me. You are a junior and a teacher. You know what's right. Let others be spared. I'm a teacher. I'm not a victim. So I'm not going to spare anything. She told me to get lost this time. And I listened to her advice and went back. Next time, she should slap me directly in the face. And I'll go back anyway. Am I some kind of bitch? Me. Don't try to talk me out of it. I'm definitely not going back. Why don't you help me talk Jason into staying with me on my side of the family? Otherwise, people can say whatever they like. Relatives. The relatives left. 3 months later, Jason compromised and moved in with me, renting out the house his family bought for him to subsidize the household. Linda and I almost stopped communicating with each other. All of our contact information was blacked out. And I no longer set foot in her house during New Year's festivals. My sister-in-law helped us with Max for a year until my mom retired. Jason and I paid half of the money and my parents paid half. Linda and I socialized again after Max turned 5 and Linda tried to come to me to reconcile. She asked Jason to call me over to her house for New Year's Eve. But of course I didn't go. And Jason thought it was my problem. He said, Sophia, it's been 5 years. How long are you going to be angry with my mom? I didn't even think about it and replied, for the rest of my life. Your mom is already a stranger to me. Why would I want to go to a stranger's house for New Year's Eve? Jason. How to say she is also my mom. My mom now want to reconcile with you. You have to take the previous point of shit. Has been catty. Me. Your mom wants to reconcile with you now. Why? You don't know me well? The kids are older and better. So I don't need her to stay up all night to help. My mom is also retired. So she doesn't need to hire nanny anymore. And she doesn't need to pay for it. She feels like she's Max's grandma again. and can hold her grandson from time to go out and show off to people that she has a grandson. When she met a few unknown friends and relatives, she could still tell them how hard she had worked to bring up her grandson over the past few years. She's got it all figured out. Jason was a little angry with me. Sophia. Is it funny to talk like that? Talking like my mom isn't Max's grandmother because she didn't help with Max. Me. I don't have to think about it. Linda talked to Jason too much. Jason didn't think about it and said it subconsciously. In the past 5 years, since I stopped seeing Linda, Linda has been calling Jason from time to time. That's how I knew Linda had suddenly come back to me to reconcile. She had been on the phone with Jason once and I overheard her once. She said to Jason, "Your grandmother used to give me a hard time. But I put up with your grandmother for so many years for your sake and for the sake of this family. I'm not even making things difficult for your daughter-in-law now. But your daughter-in-law is deliberately trying to make a big deal out of a little thing, causing the whole family to be in a tizzy." She paused and added disdainfully, "Your daughter-in-law really thinks that if she fights with me over a small matter and goes back to her mother's home and doesn't come back again, that means she has won. So she's very smart. Whether she comes back or not. Max is also our grandchild. And I don't need to help out with money and labor. In a few years, when the child is older, he will still call me grandma." Jason didn't refute or agree. But in his heart, he should be thinking the same thing. Of course. Jason was initially angry with Linda for not wanting to help with the grandchildren, and for coming to the house after my sister-in-law came to help, and for shouting at me to get out of the house that her family had bought. It made it difficult for him on both ends. For this reason, he even had a few arguments with Linda. But between mother and son, there is no deep hatred. This anger. But a few months will also be gone. I can understand this. My mom and I also often because of some trivial things quarrel a few words. But no one has ever put on the heart. What pisses me off is that Jason takes it for granted that if he can get over it, then I should have gotten over it just like he did. And in his classic words, it was my mom after all. So, during the past 5 years, even though Linda and I had cut off all contact, Jason would bring Max to Linda's place from time to time during the holidays or on weekends. And every time Jason took Max there, I would have a surprise when Max came back. The first time he brought Max back to Linda's after he could talk, Max came back and told me, "Grandma says she loves me the most." The second time he brought Max back, Max came back and said to me, "Mommy, Grandma says you don't like me. And Grandma doesn't like me either." The third time he brought Max back, Max came back and said something that made me even more furious. "Mom, Grandma said that Grandpa and Dad and I have the same last name. And you don't have the same last name as we do. And you're an outsider." What's even worse is that once I met one of her relatives on the street. Her relative asked me, "Your mother-in-law wants to take care of your child. Why don't you do it for her?" Yes. Linda even went around telling people that it was me who didn't let her bring up her grandchildren. For this reason, I have argued with Jason many times. But Jason would just make light of the situation and say, "The child is just talking nonsense." I was so angry. The child doesn't know what to do. But your mom is almost 60 years old and still doesn't know what to do. How can you teach your children to be so ignorant and turn black and white upside down? Jason, however, did not even think about it and gave me a sentence. How do you know that it is not Max who is lying and the relatives who are talking nonsense? Me. I didn't bother to argue with him. But after that, I never let him take Max back. And after I refused to reconcile with Linda, Jason came to me for another fight. After the fight, he did something that made my head explode. Because I didn't want to go to Linda's house for New Year's Eve. So, on the 5th day of the new year, after he paid his relatives a visit, He picked up Linda and his dad to come to our place to see Max. On that day, I brought Max back from my mother's house. And when I saw Linda sitting on the sofa with her legs crossed and a smug look on her face, I already had a belly full of fire. Wanted to ask Jason for an explanation. Jason saw my face changed. Pulled me into the room after. Said, "Wife. My mom has not seen Max for more than a year. Just want Max. Also want to come to see you. This New Year's Eve. You give me face. Don't droop your face. Don't argue with my mom. Okay?" I held back my anger and asked, "Then what?" Jason then asked me to be generous and go talk to his mom first. Saying that if I said hello to Linda first, then it would be a handshake and make up. I was stunned. But on second thought, it's really not good to quarrel in the new year. So, I agreed. When I left the room, I greeted Linda in a pleasant manner. "Old woman. My parents bought this house. And it's written in my name. So please get out." Linda. Jason. Linda's legs stopped tilting and she couldn't be more pleased with herself. She stood up and yelled at me in disbelief. "Sophia. This is how you talk to your elders. And you're still a teacher." I looked to Jason. "I spoke to your mom first. She is not willing to reconcile. Tell her to get lost." Jason. Jason didn't speak yet. Linda spoke first. "I, an elder, have come over to apologize to you. What do you mean by being so aggressive?" I laughed coldly. "Let's not say you didn't apologize and I won't accept the apology. We all know clearly what you have in mind when you want to reconcile now. There is no way I will reconcile with you." Linda was anxious. "What is my mind? What can I have in mind? I came to see you guys on New Year's Eve and you still look at me wrong." I repeated to her what I had said to Jason before. And then said, "I know that your mother-in-law was not nice to you back then. And didn't help you bring up your children. And you still took care of her when she got old. But in my case, don't even think about it." Linda's mind was torn apart. Roared even louder. "Who wants your old age? You don't need to talk about my future old age. I have a son and a husband. In the future I'll be so sick and paralyzed that I don't need to settle for you. Don't need you to come and see a glance. I'm now just purely coming to see my grandchildren. I just want to see my grandson. No need. My son doesn't need you to see him either. How come he doesn't need me to look at him? Max is my grandson." I didn't even have the desire to argue with her and glanced at Jason. "Is your mom leaving? If not, well, get a divorce." Jason. Jason was silent for a moment and took his mom and dad with him. After leaving the house, Linda was still screaming at my door. "Divorce is divorce. She really thinks she can find a better one if she divorces you." After belittling me, she turned to Jason and said, "You're almost being called live-in son-in-law. And she didn't come back to our house once for New Year's Eve to defend your image. There is no difference between having this kind of daughter-in-law and not having one." After they left, I even printed out the divorce papers. Jason and I divorced without any joint property. The house was all premarital. And the money from the marriage, after paying off our respective mortgages, plus our and Max's expenses, was basically moonlight. The only kink is Max's custody. And Max am definitely not giving him. I was ready to file a lawsuit against him for Max's custody. But in the end, we didn't get divorced. Jason, who was originally incited by Linda to agree to divorce, reversed his decision half a month later. He came to apologize to me, saying that it was indeed his ill-considered decision, not taking into account my feelings, and that he didn't even say hello, and took his parents over to our place without authorization, which gave me a hard time. He also promised that he wouldn't do it again. Truth be told, we can get by without it being a fucking issue. Although he is a mama's boy, He loves Max very much. He will help Max with his homework. He will take Max out with him on vacation. And he spends most of his paycheck on Max. Except for expenses. He has been married for 6 years. And he still buys flowers for the holidays. As for Linda, I've already torn my face off anyway. I never intended to put up with her. And I've never lost since I started tearing my face off with her. My mom also said after Jason came to apologize. If Jason apologizes and never brings his mom to piss you off again, this is over. Max is still young. And if you two really get divorced, the one who will be the most miserable is Max. So, in order to prevent Max from becoming a single parent, I accepted Jason's apology. But within a few days, I realized why he backtracked after being incited by Linda to divorce me. Because Linda was diagnosed with lung cancer. Coincidentally, when Linda was diagnosed with lung cancer, it was Jason's peak travel period. Basically, he traveled half a month. So Jason and his dad took turns taking care of him in the hospital for 3 days. And then he turned his attention to me. So in the beginning, Jason insisted on traveling when I explicitly refused. Forcibly dumped the responsibility on my head. And Linda even called me for accountability. I ignored Linda's accountability. But also hung up on Linda's phone. Not a moment later, Jason sent me a message. Sophia. You are also too cold-blooded. Right. My mother is now sick. You as a daughter-in-law cannot go to see a glance. I asked him. Are you trying to be funny? Your mom is sick. You don't take leave to take care of your mom in the hospital. You can still travel without worrying about her. But you want me, an outsider, to take care of her for you. Am I too cold-blooded? Or are you unfilial? Jason. How are you an outsider? My mom is also your mom. When I need help. I'm the outsider. When they need help. I'm the daughter-in-law? Don't be so double-standard. Jason added. Plus, my mom is so sick right now. She needs so much money. If I take off work to take care of her, who gets the money for treatment? Can you sympathize with me? Me. I didn't even bother to listen to him pushing. Simply stopped replying to him. I was told that Linda would go to the hospital for a checkup. Not long after she was scolded back by me and felt unwell. She initially thought it was because she was angry with me that her high blood pressure was off. And after taking antihypertensive medication, she didn't take it seriously. However, the situation did not improve for many days. So she went to the hospital for a checkup. The test results came out to be early-stage lung cancer. It can be cured. And the cost is about $200,000. Linda couldn't get that much money. Jason couldn't get that much money. And Linda didn't have insurance yet. The only way to cure it is to sell the house. The money we are paying at the hospital is still partly borrowed from relatives. I know. Jason told me about it after he made up with me. I didn't take it seriously at the time. Although Riverside's housing price is not high. Only $4,000. But his family's 2 suites are not small. So if he sells any of them, he will be able to come up with this amount of money. I also told him that he wants to sell his family to buy him. Before our wedding house. I have no problem. Jason said to go back and talk to his parents about which one to sell. But I never thought that on the 3rd day when I didn't reply to Jason's message. Jason came back early from his business trip because Linda had to prepare for chemotherapy surgery and I ironically wasn't going to be there to help. He had to come back early. But when he came back, the first thing he discussed with me was that his family wanted to sell my house instead of his parents' own house or the house his family bought for him. Of course. Jason is a salesman after all. And he was very polite and nice when he came to talk to me. He said, "Wife, my parents' that house is used for their old age. Surely cannot be sold. Sold their old age will have no place. We have 2 houses. Just sell which can come up with this money. But I think my suite is a key middle school semester room. Sold. The future will affect Max go to school. He paused. I'm sure I won't let you suffer. After you sell your house, I'll add your name to this suite. He is really daring. In the past, his mother came to us here to stir up. I think. Anyway, I'm not with his mother over. Cut off on the line. Out of sight. Out of mind. Later, he had to bring his mom here to reconcile with me. And I thought, for Max's sake, we should go on living together. But at this moment, I completely moved to divorce him. If I agree to his selfish behavior now, I will have to suffer a lot of losses in the future. I was silent for a long time and asked him, Jason, do you think I am particularly stupid? My house sold to save your mom. Your house plus my name. But also just our joint property. The future we really divorced. This joint property I cannot get, it is not easy to say. Why don't you just ask me directly if I can take $200,000 out to cure your mom? Jason. I don't mean that. I mean, we have to think about Max. I interrupted him. Think. My ass. You're so close to throwing abacus beads in my face. Why don't you say? Your flat is a semester house in a major high school. It's easier to sell. Your mom is still in the hospital waiting for you to get money to save her life. Yet you still have the heart to take advantage of my house. Jason wanted to take advantage of me here, did not take advantage. Annoyed and angry scolding. Sophia. I kind of see through you. My mom is right. Your kind of wife. With or without. There is no difference. If your attitude towards my family is always this attitude, we might as well get a divorce. I replied angrily. Then hurry up and get a divorce. Tomorrow we will go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register for a divorce. Jason was also angry. Divorce then. The next day, I got all the documents. But Jason didn't go, saying that he didn't have time to deal with me and him right now, and that he had to go to the hospital to take care of his mom. Then, a few elders of his family came to talk to me on the grounds of visiting their home. The content of the conversation. Or let me buy a house to save Linda. See, my attitude firmly refused to sell. Simply moral kidnap me. Said. How she is Jason's own mother. You look at Jason's face. Have pity on her. I asked. She is also the daughter-in-law of the Zhang family. Why don't you look at Jason's father's face? Have pity on her. And help her to get the medical expenses together? You don't have to sell the house yet. Each family contributes 40,000 to $50,000 and that's enough. The relatives stopped talking and left. But within 2 days, his relatives spread the rumor that not only did I not go to the hospital to take care of my mother-in-law, but I also forbade Jason to pay for her medical expenses. The rumor spread for a long time. And even the parents of some of my students heard the rumor. Jason, not to mention, to help me explain, but also deliberately delayed not to divorce with me. I called to question Jason. Jason happened to be in the hospital. The words just to ask. Linda's voice came over. She said, you sell the house to help us pay the hospital fees. Rumors will not be broken. Me. Okay. Okay. So play it right. I immediately posted all the causes and consequences in my circle of friends, along with how Linda treated me in the past. I not only sent the circle of friends, but also sent all the groups except the work group, in which there are people who know Jason. As long as I don't want to have this face anymore, everyone will not want to be decent. Jason and I have a lot of overlap in the circle of friends. But in a moment, most of Jason's friends and co-workers know that his family is counting on me to sell my house and pay for his mom's treatment. Jason called me back after I finished this operation. He asked me angrily. Sophia. My mom is still hospitalized for surgery. Do you have to give me a hard time at this time? I said. Your family has no shame in slandering me. And you won't allow me to prove my innocence. Anyway. If your family has no shame. Let's all lose our faces together. Jason was even angrier. Don't you think my mom is sick and you want to divorce me because you are afraid that my family will drag you down? Jason was even angrier. You don't want to divorce me because you think my mom is sick. Don't regret it in the future. Just beg me to get remarried. Me. Don't worry. Whoever regrets is a dog. Jason. Probably because I posted everything and made Jason lose face. Jason didn't know whether it was a gamble or Linda said something to him again. He really went to the civil office with me to register for divorce. He also said that considering his current situation, he could not bring up Max well. So he would not fight with me for the custody of Max. He will give me $12,000 of child support every month. Thank God. Otherwise I would have to fight with him for divorce. In January, Jason and I came out from the Civil Affairs Bureau after getting the divorce certificate. Jason was still looking at me with a grudge and said, Sophia. If you can only share the good and not the bad. Even if you divorce me, you won't be able to get along with other people in the future. Me. What? Me. Don't insult the word share the good and the bad. In the past few years, your mom has been trying to disgust me on purpose. And you've been trying to make peace with all of it. I've been sharing the pain with you so that Max could have a whole family. And you didn't even mention the fact that your mom was trying to get rid of my prenuptial property after she deliberately tried to disgust me. Why don't you mention it? Are you ashamed to mention it? Jason wanted to speak for a while. Give me to hold out a sentence. Originally is a family. Sell your and sell my. What is the difference? How is counting you? I blanked him. Thank you. Finally not a family. After saying that, I turned around and walked away. Within a few days, I learned that Jason would divorce me so readily because Linda encouraged it. In defense of me, Jason could only sell his own after he was sure I wouldn't sell my house. In order to quickly come up with the money for Linda's treatment, he listed both houses on the internet, but eventually sold the one he was holding. Because it was in desperate need of money. The price was much lower than usual. And the day after it was listed, the day Jason confronted me about it, it was booked. Linda was afraid that Jason's money from the sale of the house. When I found out, I would go and ask Jason for it. So, she told us both to hurry up and leave. I was speechless. How can I say this? This is really something she can think out. After divorcing Jason, I realized that the days when there was no counting, no mother-in-law who came to disgust me on purpose, were simply too good to be true. And after Jason divorced me, Linda herself was still in the hospital for treatment, and started to work on introducing Jason to a blind date. However, the first 2 years basically did not work out. Other girls are not fools. Now married over, is not rushing to her family to do free nanny well. So, until 3 years later, Linda completely cured. Jason remarried. The girl is also a Riverside local. Second marriage. There is a son. Sentenced to the ex-husband. It is said that Linda personally chose her daughter-in-law, the daughter of a sick friend whom Linda met during her hospitalization. The girl took care of her mom in the hospital almost 24 hours a day during her stay. And Linda found her very filial. I would learn that it was Jason who came to see Max specifically before he remarried. Of course, his visit to Max was secondary to his main purpose, which was to tell me how virtuous his second wife was, who had expressed her willingness to live with his parents before the marriage. He even advised me, Sophia, don't be too picky. Just find a suitable man and marry him. After 3 years, I don't love or hate him. But I can't stand it when he comes here to show off and advises me in a condescending manner. I replied. Mind your own business. You don't need to inform me about your marriage. I definitely won't give any money. But if Max's child support is cut off, well, see you in court. Jason. He gritted his teeth quite a bit. Sophia. After all these years, you really haven't changed at all. You only consider your own interests in everything. I gave him a blank look. If I don't think about my own interests, do I think about yours? Jason was exasperated by my few words and left. After he left, my mom also rolled her eyes at him and gloated. His good days are ahead of him. Me. I do know that my mom has more resentment towards Jason than I do. When I first divorced Jason, my mom would curse Jason in front of me almost every day. Also, during those years, my mom helped out in my house in all kinds of ways for my sake. Not only did she not ask for a penny from us, but she also subsidized us with her own pension. As a result, in the end, Jason and his mom even tried to count my premarital property. But in the past 2 years, my mom has looked away. Even the name Jason is rarely mentioned in front of me. Occasionally on weekends, Jason comes to my place to pick up Max to go over to stay and say hello to my mom. My mom is like facing a stranger, maintaining the most basic social etiquette. I was curious as to why she was suddenly young Jason again. I asked, "What do you mean?" My mom. According to the old lady I dance with, the reason his wife divorced her ex-husband was because her wife gave all the family's savings to her maiden brother to buy a house. After she got married, she gave back more than half of her monthly salary to her mom. This is definitely an exaggeration, but it is certain that his wife is a family exploiter. Me. Bull. My mom. Now Linda was taken care of by his wife a few times when she was in the hospital. And she thinks she's all kinds of good. Plus, 3 months after they met, his wife got pregnant and had to get married. When they get married, his family will know how good his wife is. His family still only has his parents' house now. Flagging in-laws and daughters-in-law living together. The excitement is behind them. Me. For some reason, I suddenly had the illusion of watching a dog-blooded family serial. As it turns out, it's not an illusion. But in just over a year, I've had one big melon from his family, which my mom told me when she came back from her square dance. Linda had a fight with her daughter-in-law. The reason is that Jason's wife's child was born. Originally promised to take care of the child Linda. The same as to me. On the grounds of poor health once again put down the job. But also a variety of nitpicking. And now, Linda's body also really does not allow her to stay up late to help bring up the grandchildren. His wife can only ask her mom to help with the baby. Just like I did before. Her mom also agreed to help bring. But Linda's pension house, only 2 rooms and a hall, cannot live so many people. The child was taken directly to her mother's home to bring. But her mom can't work and subsidize her brother if she helps her with the kids. So, have to pay $4,000 per month. And Jason's wife's salary are just under $4,000. Linda didn't know that they were paying her mother-in-law to bring up the kids, and was complacent that she didn't have to help with the grandchildren, and that someone else was bringing them to her house for free. She went around bragging about it. Until one time, she overheard Jason's wife giving money to her in-law's mother. Linda immediately quit. Jason's wife blocked her with a few words. "You can't take care of the baby. And you don't pay for it. So who are you to make trouble with me? If you have the ability, you can bring it up. Or don't push me here." Linda was so angry. "You live in the house." Linda was furious. "You live in my house and eat in my house. You live in my house. You eat in my house. But you give all the money to your mom's family. And you ask me who I am to make trouble. If you don't get back the money you gave to your mom, get out of this house. As a result, Jason's wife was even more righteous than her. What do you mean? I live in your house and eat from your house. I am married to your son. And this house is mine and your son's. If you don't like it, you can go back to your house yourself. If you don't like it, go back to your hometown and retire yourself. She paused. Besides, do you work to earn money? Now you're the one eating our food, drinking our food and telling me what to do. Linda. Linda never scolded. Turned back to Jason to complain. Crying that people are old. Useless. Daughter-in-law dislike her. Jason's wife directly next to her said, if you know you are old and useless, keep your mouth shut and don't go around making people suspicious. Linda. Linda took advantage of Jason's presence. Did not make unreasonable trouble Jason's wife. Gave Jason's wife a slap. But Jason's wife is not a vegetarian. The two directly from the war of words. Upgraded to a fight. They each slapped each other a few times and ripped out a handful of hair. After both of them were persuaded to stop, Jason saw Linda crying and said a few words about his wife. His wife directly picked up his son from his mother's home, left him with Linda, and then went back to his mother's home. She also said that if Linda didn't come to her house to apologize, she would get a divorce. Me. Well done. I asked. Did Linda go to the door to apologize? My mom. Yes. She did. How could she not? She's in such a bad shape and can't bring up her grandchildren. And her son still has to work. So what if she didn't go? It is said that she even gave her in-laws a big red packet of $5,000 to invite her back. Now at home, her daughter-in-law is being treated every day. And she doesn't dare to give a damn. I was relieved to learn that Linda was not doing well. I applauded. Heaven's way is good. Although I knew that Linda was not doing well now, I didn't really go to watch the fun. Until Jason stopped Max's child support. Only then did I give Jason a call. The phone was answered in a second. But what came from the other side was not Jason's voice, but the sound of his wife arguing with Linda and cursing at her. I think Jason accidentally pressed it. The two argued for half a day. I understand. Even though Linda compromised for her grandson last time and went to her door to apologize to her daughter-in-law and invited her daughter-in-law back. However, she still hasn't stopped doing what she is doing. And she has been telling Jason about her daughter-in-law behind Jason's back, which has led to Jason arguing with his wife from time to time. This time, they quarreled again because Jason's wife spent more than 10,000 yuan to replace some electrical appliances for her family. Linda thinks that if her daughter-in-law keeps on like this, she will give her whole family to her mother's family. So she asked Jason to take back his salary card and give it to her for safekeeping. Jason told his wife about this, and she came straight to Linda to scold her. His wife. Old woman. Can you stop every day? You do not want me to live with your son. Just tell me. Not behind the scenes. I will divorce your son. Linda tried to reason with her. Am I wrong? You always think of your mother's family in everything. Do you want to lose your own family? Jason's wife rightly said. She is my mother. And she is helping me with the kids. If I don't think of my mother, should I think of you? The evil old woman who does nothing to help me and who is pointing fingers at me behind my back. Jason's wife also gave Linda an ultimatum. This is the last time. If you keep talking behind my back, either you go to the countryside to retire, or I will divorce Jason. I don't want the kids. You guys want to take it easy and not have to raise the kids. And my mom needs a break. Linda. Jason tried to interrupt. Just called out his wife's name. His wife straight to the splash and roll scolded him for 20 minutes. From he is a mom's baby boy. scolded to his lack of responsibility and do not know how to be grateful, and then scolded to his inability to see the situation. Said her mother's family to help bring up the child. Jason not only do not thank her mother's family, but also listen to Linda's instigation. Finally, Jason was asked, "Do you listen to your mom now? Has your mom ever helped you with the baby? Has your mom ever helped you change a piece of diaper, feed the baby, or put the baby to sleep? If you say that I am a family exploiter and give money to my mother's family, then don't be a shirker." Jason, shut up. I can't win. I can't win at all. I hung up the phone with a smile on my face. And the next day, I sued Jason. It doesn't matter if I give him money or not. I have to make him leave a record, so that he won't be ashamed to come to Max's old age after his wife gives him all the money in the future. Before the court date, Jason came to see Max again with a tired face. But he really has no money to give Max. His salary is all in the hands of his wife, who threatened him with divorce and forbade him to give Max child support. And Linda was so angry with her that she had high blood pressure every 3 days. And she couldn't stand her. So, Linda, who was already in poor health, simply went back to her hometown with her father a few days ago for the sake of her own life. Jason came to see Max this time, and his words were all about divorcing his wife. But divorcing his wife is not as simple as divorcing me. His wife doesn't want the baby, and he can't take care of the baby, who's less than 2 years old. So he shamelessly hinted to me that he wanted to remarry me and asked me to be the stepmother of his and his wife's child. I immediately stopped him. Don't bark, Jason. Just kidding. I'm waiting to watch his family's doggy family drama for dinner. The two of them have to be locked up.